Perfect. All right, welcome and thank you again to everyone for joining today's introductory webinar for our Masters Mentors and Mentees for the 2025 to 2026 CSC Mentoring Programme. It's fantastic to have so many of you join us this evening, and particularly so many new mentors who are joining the programme this year as well. So this session is very much going to talk through some of the elements of the programme, just to help you familiarise yourself with what to expect by participating in the mentoring programme, and to go through some of the resources and information that Eva has already shared with you. And also it's an opportunity for you to ask any questions that you might have at this initial stage of your mentoring pairing, and also any queries that might come up from the information shared. So please do use the chat box throughout, and there will be a Q&A at the end, but hopefully the recording and these slides will also help as you make your way through the programme over the next few months. So just to give a little bit of an overview about what we're going to discuss this evening, we're going to give a little bit more of an introduction to the programme, how it works, some of the elements that are really key to having a successful mentoring pairing, such as setting goals, and then also look at some of these resources and policies that are designed to support you during the mentoring programme, but also to ensure that everybody has a really safe and positive experience on the programme. And then we'll end with that Q&A, which again will not be recorded. So please do speak freely if you do have questions at the end, and drop them into the chat box as we go as well. So a little bit more background on the mentoring programme. It started in 2019 and it has grown every single year up until now, with a total of over 1,200 Commonwealth scholars and alumni participating in the programme as both mentors and mentees. And we're now at a really, really wonderful stage where a lot of people who were mentees right at the start of the programme are now becoming mentors and have had multiple different mentees kind of work with them. So it's a really, really lovely family and community to be part of through this programme. Just to kind of recap some information around the aims of the programme, it's to connect new Commonwealth scholars with an alumnus in a one-on-one pairing to support the development of scholars whilst they are on award in the UK. And that's either by supporting them through adjusting to living in the UK, to studying in a UK institution, but also I think really understanding the CSC and the development impact sort of objectives and goals that are set at the outset of your programmes, and the purpose of the scholarship as well. There's opportunities throughout the programme for both mentors and mentees to share their knowledge and enhance their skills to support that development objective that might be part of their ongoing professional work or the studies that are being undertaken in the UK. It's also to really increase opportunities for our Commonwealth and alumni from across the world to connect, to share cultural information, to have this opportunity to build your networks with those that you might not otherwise come across. And it's also just a really great opportunity to build your CSC network as well. And for those of you who are tonight mentors, this is a great programme for developing your mentoring and other soft skills, and we'll touch on some of those elements as we go through and look at the resources that are available to support you throughout your time on the programme. But it's very much around that one-on-one pairing and really understanding what you as a mentor can bring to the pairing, and for mentees to really understand what it is that you can learn from an alumnus alongside your academic studies and your time in the UK as well. So, how have you all been paired? This is a really important part of the programme, and it's really important to understand that the CSC's mentoring programme is a little bit different to other mentoring programmes that you may come across, where perhaps you would be paired with people that have studied the exact same course as you, or perhaps you're being paired with people who went to the exact same university. If you are in a pairing where that has happened, that's actually quite unusual for the CSC's programme, because what we're looking for is that development objective connection. We're looking at ways in which the skill knowledge of both the mentors and mentees can develop alongside each other to really build a sort of holistic view of development impact, and one that you can take away and implement following your studies. So how we've paired is we have taken into consideration as far as possible your country preference. And you might be interested to know that most of our pairs are cross-country. So again, really embracing that opportunity to learn from somebody from a different background, a different country and a different culture, as well as also having some connections around the academic or subject side of your pairing. As mentioned, we've got subject and or field of study. These are quite broad. So again, you might not be paired with somebody who has the exact specifics of the course you studied or are studying, but we have tried to do that as far as possible by topic area or general subject, or an understanding perhaps around your mentor's professional development and their career as well, and also mentees for those of you who've already kind of got some years of work behind you and your scholarship is just part of that journey. Where you provided keywords, this has been really important in helping us to understand exactly what your subject is aimed at and what you as well see as the most important parts of what you're studying and how you might apply it following your scholarship. We've also looked at the motivations that mentors and mentees submitted. So if you specified more that you wanted academic support, we've tried to pair people with those who feel that that's their strongest skill to bring to the pairing. But also some people have requested more social elements of support, and particularly those who are perhaps studying and have brought dependents with them through study, and they want somebody who might have also been through that experience and can share things that will support those sides of the scholarship programme. And then finally, as also mentioned, your mentor's professional experience is something that is taken into consideration. I hope everybody on the call has had a chance to connect with their mentor or their mentee, and I will reiterate some deadlines because we have made an extension because we are aware that some people have emails have gone astray in spam boxes and things like that. So Eva has kindly extended that deadline to the 7th of December, but we will reiterate that in a couple of slides' time. But I do hope as many people as possible on the call have connected with their mentor and mentee and that they're starting to see the reasons why they've been paired. And if you still don't understand, you can always get in touch with us, but we really encourage you to have quite open conversations with each other to really assess and understand what you can learn from each other, because there is no pairing where you can't learn something and take away really interesting experience and expertise. So the next section is going to look at how the programme works for our master's pairings in particular, but I just want to check if there is anything, Eva, that you would like to add.
No, nothing so far. Again, we are getting a few questions in the chat box about receiving that email from your mentor, and we will get back, we will get over that. Thank you, Kirsty.
Right. Yes. No, please do use the chat to log these things, and we will go through it at the end and pick up all of these discussion points. So, how does the programme work for our master's pairings? So as mentioned, it's a one-to-one pairing. So you have a dedicated mentee and a dedicated mentor. So they are yours to really build a connection and a relationship with over the next 12 months. So the pairing is from December 2025, so from now until December 2026. What's really important about that time frame is that this is going to cover post-master's experiences. So most of you who are in the programme, who are a master's scholar, currently studying, you will finish your studies in September, potentially October next year, but your mentor will continue with you until the end of next year, until December. The reason that we have developed the programme in that way is because we know from previous cohorts of scholars that that return home period can be really difficult. There's a huge level of transitioning back into former roles. There's potentially a huge piece around finding new employment, finding new ways to apply all that skill and knowledge that you've learned from your masters. But also generally, it can be a really difficult point of sort of adjusting and reintegrating back home or into new work environments or new family environments as well. So your mentor will support you throughout that period because they have also gone through the same thing. and they can understand what you're going through and provide support at that point as well. We decided as CSC that that was more important than trying to pair people before they'd arrived in the UK, where you are inundated with information from both the CSC and your UK institutions. So this is why the pairing cycle is positioned in the way that it is. We advise a minimum time commitment of 2 hours each month, and that's simply because it's the best way to build your relationship, your bond with each other, but also practically speaking, 2 hours disappears very quickly. And in particular, if there are specific things that you want to discuss, you'll find that detail will eat up a lot of the time. So we expect a minimum time commitment of 2 hours every month, and you are welcome to agree longer time periods if that is useful for your pairing, but that should be a mutual decision between mentors and mentees. So we have a chart here that is just giving you a little bit more of an idea around the areas of support that mentors and mentees can be providing and seek through the programme, but also to give you a little bit of idea of some of the trends that we see in terms of expectations around how a mentor or a mentee can be supported. So you'll see that we've got academic, professional and social support. Academic support is one of the biggest requests that we see from people who have taken part in the programme, followed by that professional support and then social. But you'll see really everyone is asking for some of these things across and throughout the mentoring cycle. So it's really important as mentors to understand that these areas are really important to your mentees. And so you may get questions and asked for support in these areas at any point in time throughout the cycle. But also mentees, if you're feeling actually that you need a bit more support in the social area and less so around your academic studies, that's perfectly acceptable. It's exactly what your mentor is there to provide guidance in as well. So please don't be shy if your needs change throughout the programme. Just be open with your mentor, and they're there to expect these types of questions and to help you through it as well. So as kind of reiterated on those slides, think beyond your subject area. Think about your development impact goals and think about your professional skills as you're going through the programme. But don't neglect things like ensuring that you are acclimatising to studying and living in the UK. I know that we have some distance learning mentors who are joining the programme this year. Just because you didn't study in the UK does not mean that you don't have very critical information to share around how you balance work and life. So if you're thinking, well, my mentor didn't study in the UK, they have a wealth of experience to support you throughout your studies and balancing workload and adjusting to huge change in academic demand alongside perhaps some other demands on your time as well. So again, really get to know each other and understand what you can each bring to the table and where your mentor has really great experience as a mentee. Think beyond just your subject area. There are some things that you will get the best advice from your professors and supervisors, and there's some things that you will get the best advice from someone who has been a Commonwealth Scholar before. So really think about that and have quite critical discussion during the next few weeks as you start to get to know each other and begin the mentoring programme. So, roles and responsibilities. I really hope everybody has already read the roles and responsibilities assigned to mentors and mentees. It was reiterated in your agreement forms and also in the handbooks that have been shared, both in advance of you applying and also subsequent to you being accepted onto the programme. So I'm just going to whiz through these, but if you do have questions, please drop them into the chat, or remember that you can always get in touch with us as well, because sometimes these questions come long after the sessions as well, and you're always welcome to contact Eva. So, roles and responsibilities of mentors. As shared, it's to support a new scholar in developing the appropriate skills and knowledge. And we really advise that you do that by sharing your Commonwealth Scholarship experience. No one knows what it's like to be a Commonwealth Scholar apart from our Commonwealth Scholars and our Commonwealth alumni. So this is a really lovely opportunity for you to draw on those experiences to really support a new scholar in developing those skills and knowledge that will be appropriate for their career aspiration, their professional development, but also for how they want to apply that skill and knowledge to support development impact in their home country. So that third point there about providing guidance on implementing learning and skills post-scholarship. How do you apply that module in your masters that you know is really crucial to your development impact goal, or you know it's really crucial to your professional development? How do you actually apply it in practical terms to what you do next? This is where your mentor, and this is where our Commonwealth alumni have absolute fantastic experience and knowledge to share. So this is something that we expect our mentors to be doing, and it's something as mentees you can ask your mentor about. For mentors as well, developing your mentoring and professional skills. Every role at work requires a level of mentorship, whether you're a manager, whether you're a supervisor, or whether you are a colleague. We're always mentoring and supporting each other. So this is a really good opportunity to develop those skills further in a more formal setup, as well as also providing opportunities to build some of those professional and soft skills that I mentioned at the start. And again, the resources are available in the handbook, and we'll touch on some of those later in the session. We also want you to encourage your mentee to stay connected with the CSC community. And for those of you that have studied maybe over the last 5 or 10 years, you'll have really good insight into what the CSC offers for scholars during their time in the UK and their studies, but also you'll have really good insight into what the opportunities are once they complete their studies and join our alumni community as well. So this is a really good point around encouraging your mentees to stay connected with the CSC community and the opportunities, and hopefully everyone becomes a mentor next year as well. Always an aim, but it's something, again, to just be encouraging within the community around supporting one another and continuing to stay connected. So for mentees, it's a little bit the other side of the mirror in terms of the roles and responsibilities of mentors. But as already mentioned, you have a role and a responsibility to seek guidance from your mentor on how to ensure your studies will support your development impact goals. So again, go back to your CSC application form and think about what you wrote in that around the intended development impact of your studies. And think about now that you've started your course and you've seen the modules available and you started to do some of the reading, potentially already handed in some essays. What exactly do you need to start connecting? What are the questions that are starting to arise between what you're studying and what your intention was in your scholarship application form? And this is what your mentor is there for you to be asking about and to be taking some critical questions and some critical ideas to the table around. The same as for mentors, it's also an opportunity to develop your soft skills for personal and professional development. Being part of a mentoring pairing is a really fascinating opportunity just in terms of how you build a relationship with somebody that you didn't previously know. How do you build a relationship with somebody who might be an absolute superstar in your field? And how do you also build a network through that person as well? There are so many different ways in which you can use this program to really develop your skills for your personal and professional growth. Again, that third point, asking questions on how to implement your learning and skills post-scholarship. Some of it is things that your mentor can prepare you around doing, but some of it might be around giving advice for networks, conferences, other academic communities that you could be getting involved in, either in the UK, in your home country, or at a regional level across the Commonwealth. So again, always be thinking a little bit bigger than just what you're looking at right now, and ask your mentor about things around networking and building your collaboration as well. These are ways that you can start to think about how you implement your learning and your skills post-scholarship, because we can't do everything by ourselves, but we can definitely do more when we're connected. As already mentioned, seeking support in adjusting to living and studying in the UK. For most of you, the UK academic system will be very different. Some of you will be on incredibly intensive master's courses. It's absolutely fine if anyone on this call is a little bit intimidated or a little bit worried about the shock of some of the demands that might be coming on your programme. Again, these are things that will have occurred and happened to your mentor, so please go and ask for advice around making that adjustment. And kind of making sure that when you come to term 2 next year, you're both prepared for how cold the UK will get, but also potentially how demanding some of your courses may be, because your mentor has been through it and they can provide you the advice. So please do not be shy to ask for help in some of these areas is perfectly normal, and it's what the programme is designed to help you do. And then finally, please do keep your mentor informed about what's happening on your course. For some of you, you will be publishing. For some of you, you'll be off on research. And for some people, you'll be involved in social activities that you've maybe never been involved in before. Just because it's not related directly to your master's course, it doesn't mean your mentor doesn't want to celebrate your achievements or hear about them, and potentially encourage you to take part in some opportunities as well. So please do treat this as a relationship where you keep each other informed about what's going on, because really we want to build a really positive and safe space for everybody within the programme to share with each other. And it's another way that you start to build that network and that importance and value of the mentoring pairing. So I'm going to next talk about the 5 stages of the pairing. But before I move on, I'm just going to check in with Eva that we've covered everything and if there's anything that might have come up.
All good so far, but to really like to reiterate that it is a two-way learning process. So mentors, please uh, do set goals for yourself as well. This is a great opportunity for you to develop your own personal and professional skills, not just mentoring skills. So really, anything from soft skills to active listening skills, problem-solving skills. We know from the past cohorts that mentors who have participated in the program have found it so beneficial that they have gone on to developing a mentoring program in their workplace or have become a mentors for other colleagues in their workplace. So do take this opportunity to develop your own skills and set goals for yourself as well. And mentees, do ask your mentors what their goals are, and how best you can provide support throughout this year.
Great, thanks, Eva. Yeah, it's a really important point. Everyone comes to this relationship equal, and everyone comes as an expert in their own right. And you should be making sure that you're aware of that and also respectful of it as well, both within the remit of the roles and responsibilities outlined. So, 5 stages, the 5 key stages of the mentoring programme. So, you're currently in stage 1, which is very much focused about building rapport, building your relationship and getting to know each other. It's really important because if you put the time into stage 1, stages 2 to 5 become a lot easier because you understand both why you've been paired, what you can learn from each other, and as Eva's just mentioned, you can set goals for one another that are responsive to what you can both bring to the table and also what you want to take away from the relationship as well. So over the next 2 months, we've got the induction webinar. Thank you everyone for joining. To those watching the recording, I hope this is useful, and you can always get in touch if you have additional questions around anything shared. We ask that everyone introduces themselves. So first introductions are made by the mentor. So if you are on the call and you're a mentor and you have not yet emailed your mentee, I advise that you go away after this call and do that immediately. If you can't find the email from Eva, please email us and we will resend the information. But you must be in touch. You must have contacted your mentee by the 7th of December. And we will be following up on that because unfortunately, if contact is not established in these early weeks, we do have to terminate pairings, which means that if you don't reach out to your mentee, they are being deprived of an opportunity to take part in the programme. Equally, if you are a mentor and you have reached out to your mentee and they've still not responded, do send a follow-up. Do check in that they're okay. But if you are concerned that you've sent 1 or 2 follow-ups and they've still not get in touch, still not responded, please let Eva know and we can see if we can nudge some responses on as well. Don't be disheartened. As I've mentioned, it's a busy time for some of our mentees that have come onto quite intensive courses. So again, don't take it personally. There are often very easy explanations as to why some of this contact doesn't happen as quickly as we hope it does. So, as I already mentioned, get to know each other. What are your work backgrounds? What are your professional and your personal goals? What are your motivations? What are your aspirations, perhaps? We do have some icebreaker suggestions in the handbook because often this can be a really difficult thing to do. So if you're a little bit uncertain, you can lean on some of those suggestions as well. Share the development goals that you both hope to achieve. For some of our alumni, I know you might have already completely smashed through your development goals, which is fantastic, but I also know from alumni that there's always something else on the table. So please both share what your development goals are, or what perhaps you want to focus on over the next year whilst the programme is running, because again, it just helps to get to know each other, helps to build that trust, but also is a point of intrigue for everybody to know what your goals are. We ask that you also use this time to establish expectations. So this can relate to a number of different things, but it can be the mode and frequency of your communication. It can be an agreement around the time zones that you are both living in and therefore need to be sort of responsible around and be sensitive to. It's also important that as part of the expectations that you agree to maintain confidentiality. That's a really important part of the programme. What is discussed between a mentor and a mentee is between a mentor and a mentee unless there are serious concerns for somebody's welfare. And again, that's a separate thing that we will touch on right at the end. And there is information around duty to report in the handbooks as well. Other things that you may also want to do whilst you are establishing your expectations, but also a little bit more about yourselves, is confirm how perhaps you would like to be addressed. Some people maintain formal titles, other people are less bothered about it or are happy for you to approach them with a sort of nickname or a shortened version of the name. Equally, please do check pronouns. We ask that no one ever assumes somebody's pronouns based on the information that's been shared. So do check that you are happy with the pronouns that are being used. And again, this is a safe space to say, these are my pronouns and I would like you to address me in this way. That is absolutely fine, and that is what this period of time is for. It's also a good period to talk about how you like to learn or how you like to communicate. Everybody communicates in different ways, and it's really important just to understand what someone's expectations and needs are in relation to communication. I personally like very direct things. I like bullet points, long sentences, and I just can't process the information. So these are things that I would often say to somebody. So again, have that open conversation to make sure that if you ever email me, please don't use long sentences. And if you put it in bullet points, I won't be offended. I'll probably really secretly love it. But these are really important things to just establish in your communications. We'll also use this period of time to check in on pairings and make sure that that initial communication has actually been completed. So you will receive a check-in survey by the 14th of December. It's about 3 or 4 questions. It's sort of yes and no responses that say, have you been in contact? Have you initiated contact? Has your mentee responded to you? And it will just be some very quick check-ins around the process and the point on the programme at which you're both at. It's really important that you reply to that survey because it helps us understand which pairings we might need to make an intervention on, but it also helps give us an idea as to sort of the progress that's being made around the pairings as well. When you do meet, we do encourage you to keep notes. This is both for your own record because we know everyone is quite busy and it's important that you keep the detail of the conversations. And we have provided a mentoring log table template which you can complete, and it just helps you to record your meeting notes. But also when you come to check in on any actions or agreements that you've made in previous meetings, you do have that logged. I'd also say when you're establishing your expectations, this is a really important time for a mentor or a mentee to say, these are the main things that I believe I will need support in. Therefore, these are the things that I will be requesting support on during the programme. As I said at the start of the call, that can change, but it's just helpful if your mentor or your mentee knows these are the things that I'm going to be looking at over the next year. Therefore, my expectation is that these are things that you will be prepared to support me with. And you can have a back and forth and a conversation around the appropriacy to set the expectations around those things as well. That leads us into stage 2, which is around setting your goals. You've gotten to know each other, you've gotten to understand what your motivations for the programme are, who you are, your background, what you can bring to the table, what you're looking to take away from the programme, what you might want to focus on. But the next stage is really about putting that into 3 to 5 goals at the start of the programme that will keep your pairing focused, but also ensure that you are working towards something so that at the end of the programme you will have wins. And that's really important to stay both focused but also motivated. And it helps both people within the pairing understand what exactly they need to come prepared for each time you meet. We advise a mix of short and long-term goals. This is just to both keep it interesting, but also to ensure that you are not leaving everything right until the end of the programme. It's good to kind of really be making achievements as you both work through it, but also understanding that some goals might be longer term because you have to achieve some of the shorter goals first in order to get to your end goal as well. We have provided a SMART goals record, which you should complete using that SMART framework for goal setting, which is being specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time bound. I know most people on the call will be familiar with SMART goals, and I know a lot of people on the call like the theory of them, but maybe don't apply them in practice. It's really important with this mentoring program to really get into setting SMART goals, because it does mean that for both the mentor and the mentee, you understand what needs to be done, and you can provide more specific guidance and you can ask more specific questions when you're coming to meetings. So SMART goals really will help you achieve the goal overall. To go back to Eva's really important point, it's a two-way learning process. Mentors should set goals as well as mentees, and you should share those with one another so you're both aware of what the goals are and that you can both support each other as well. So mentors, you should also be using stage 2 to really think about what you want to get out of the programme and the opportunity to work with your mentee as well. And if you go to the handbooks, you will see some examples of mentee and mentor goals, just to help you through that if anyone is unfamiliar or perhaps not sure exactly where to start. So stage 3. By stage 3, you should be really making progress. You should be really familiar with what your mentor is providing and what support they can give. And mentees, you should also be really understanding your mentor's goals for the program and also where they can be providing advice and guidance. You should both feel really fully engaged in the program. You've had a strong stage 1 where you've gotten to know each other. Stage 2, you've really nailed the goals and what you both need to be getting out of them, those stages, those SMART elements of that goal. So between April to June, we expect that you're fully engaged, that you are meeting regularly, you are hitting that 2 hours per month requirement, if not more, and that you've really established how you best communicate and how you want to be learning from each other, and that it's going well. During this time, it is really important to review and evaluate the goals, both those that you might have achieved by this point, but also anything remaining. Are they still relevant? Are they still needed? Are there some things actually, as you've started to work through the pairing, you don't need as goals anymore? They've become more things that you are just doing naturally. So perhaps it's time to bring in some new goals, or perhaps extend or refresh any that might still be ongoing. But this is a really important point to reflect on that and to have that discussion with each other about the goals that you set. It's about being flexible, it's about being self-reflective, and these are, again, really important soft skills that the mentoring programme helps you to sort of really hone as well. If you're hitting stage 3 and you feel like you're not making progress, it's not necessarily a bad thing. If you have a good relationship with your mentee or your mentor, you should be able to have a very open conversation about, why do I feel like these goals aren't being achieved? Or have I perhaps set my goals in the wrong way? Are they perhaps too big? Are they unfocused? Do we need to look at them again? This is a really important part of stage 3. So if you feel like things aren't going well, you should be able to have a really open conversation with one another about why perhaps goals aren't being achieved, or if you need to revise them as well. But April and June, you should be really engaged in the programme, so you should be able to have that conversation with each other. And if you're not sure what to do or how to approach it, That's what Eva's here for, so do always get in touch as well. Stage 4 is July to September. So this is often quite a critical point for master's mentees in their master's programme. It is dissertation time, it is perhaps writing up all of your essays, it's potentially exams and assignments for some of our mentees as well. Really important that stage 4 you prioritize the remaining time, thinking both about the remaining time of the studies, but then also that final stage as well, the remaining time of the full program as well. You might start to shift your focus to any goals that you've set around professional development and post-scholarship plans. So this could be looking more at career development or looking for new roles or thinking about how you apply your master's back into the workplace as well. So you might already have set goals like that at the start of the program, or this might be an opportunity to think, actually, this is a new goal that I need to think about and I'd like some more support in. Equally, mentors, this might be a point where you think, actually, I'm having to use some different soft skills as part of the program right now to support my mentee, so I need to shift my goals here as well. Professional skills that start to kind of creep into the program at this point, if they haven't already been part of your mentoring relationship, are those around networking, leadership, and critical thinking. These are things to start to kind of really hone in on, but also be aware of as part of the relationship. As I've mentioned, those future studies, potentially new career opportunities, this is often where the focus starts to shift. As I've already noted, this can be a really busy period for master's mentees. If you, as the mentee, when you get to this stage, you just think, I can't meet for 2 hours, or I want to meet for 2 hours, but I don't want to talk about my studies. I want to talk about what's happening in, sport, what's happening in tennis in the UK, or I just want to talk about something entirely different. That's absolutely fine. You can use your time with your mentor to just chat about something that's nothing to do with your dissertation or your studies, but be really open about that and say to your mentor, I just don't have the bandwidth. So can we either skip this session, or I can come, we can do half an hour and we just chat about something completely unrelated. And maybe I open up and start to talk about my studies. But again, just be open, be really honest about how you're feeling during this period so that your mentor isn't worried about you, or perhaps they need to help you through some of the more emotional sides that you might be going through about thinking about coming home or thinking about how you're going to do your dissertation. Be open and honest about it. It's what your mentor is there for. And also, your mentor has written a dissertation as well. They know exactly what you're going through, so they're there to provide support, but do just keep them informed if you're too busy or you're feeling stressed and you need a different type of support during this stage. It's also really important to be open to feedback as well, particularly at this point where perhaps your assignments and essays are starting to really pick up. This is a point in time where, again, kind of how you receive feedback and how you respond to it becomes quite important. So again, these are tips for getting through this stage, and also for mentors. It's really important to understand, again, how does your mentee need to be communicated with? How do you need to give feedback as well? And then finally, stage 5, winding down and moving on. So this is roughly this time next year, the end of the programme. So October to December. This is a really important stage to reflect on your achievements as mentees and mentors. For mentees, you're done. You did your masters, you completed your scholarship. It's a real point of celebration. And for mentors, you've supported somebody through that period of time and provided really integral support and guidance and experience and expertise. So this is a really important point to just pause and reflect on the achievements for both of you throughout the programme. If there are any goals outstanding, why is that? Did they become irrelevant? Was it something that just didn't make sense once you had gotten further into the program? Or is it something actually that is a stage 5 focused goal? And how are you going to ensure that you're sharing the information and the support required to get to the end of the program having achieved it? Some of the things to think about are transitioning back home, Potentially, you'll have changed your two time zones that you're working in, so you might need to think about your communication again. For some of you, you might be in the same city as your mentor at this point. It might be a good opportunity to meet in person if you feel safe and able to do so. But equally, it's just a point to, again, think about the pairing and what you're needing at this stage for both mentors and mentees. We know, as I've already mentioned, from scholars about some of the challenges that you might experience at this stage, and that includes things such as reverse culture shock, employment, balancing work and family life, future study plans if you're looking potentially at PhD or other educational courses and qualifications that could be relevant to your career plan. And again, your mentor is the person who can provide you some of the best guidance on that. So do be open and honest with them. And mentors, this is something that you've gone through. Think about what you wish someone had told you, and perhaps the kind of guidance that is really practical and important at this point as well. Because again, sometimes we don't realize what's happening until it's happening. And it's really great to have someone to say, when I returned home, these are all the emotions, these are all the things I had to deal with. Do you have any concerns about them? And if you don't, great. But if you start to have those concerns, then you come to me and we talk about it. So again, just that open communication and really trusting in each other's experience as well. And again, we come back to the development impact goals at the end there on the slide. This is perhaps the point where you start to realise, okay, I'm now responsible for putting all my skills and knowledge from my master's programme into action. How do I do it? We talked about how to do it, but now I'm here ready to do it. And again, it's about having that support and that guidance and someone that really cheerleads for you to support you at that stage as well. Staying connected post-programme is really, really important. And we hope that you will have built a really strong relationship so that it feels completely natural to continue to stay in contact. And we know from previous pairs, and there'll be some mentors on the call who have been mentors before who can vouch for this, but we know that collaboration, working on projects, publications, and research studies is something that our mentoring pairings have gone on to do and are actually continuing to do. So again, these are really important things. They are benefits of the programme. They're not the aims of the programme. So if you think we're probably never going to do a research paper together, that's fine. But there are always ways to continue to collaborate and share skills and knowledge post-programme. Sharing updates about your studies and work. You've got a really strong relationship. You've got somebody that knows your studies inside out or knows your professional career inside out. Keep in touch. It's always lovely to be able to tell people what you're doing. Meeting in person, potentially. This is always an option. And again, we know that mentees and mentors, when they've travelled or gone to conferences, they've gone to the same conference, and it's been a really nice opportunity to find each other and then introduce each other to your professional networks as well. Sometimes it's really nice to have a friendly face at a conference. This is another way that we know that pairs have supported each other and stayed in touch post-programme. It's a lifelong peer that you're developing here as well. Just a quick point on monitoring and evaluation. We do monitor and evaluate the programme throughout the cycle. So as I've already mentioned, December 14th, by the 14th, you'll have received your first check-in survey. Please fill it in. It helps us know that the pairings you're actually connecting, you're initiating contact, and that everyone is starting to really embrace the programme. There's a second check-in survey in March. This is to check in around the goal setting that's happened. And also this has been a longer term part of the programme where if you do have concerns that actually you don't see how the pairing is going to work, this is the point at which you can share that through the survey. But I would encourage you to get in touch with us sooner. Don't wait for the survey, but this is another point where we check in and ensure that everybody is part of a really fruitful mentoring relationship. January 2027, because we're thinking that far ahead now, January 2027, that's when you'll get your end of programme survey. So you'll finish December 2026, and then in 2027, you will get an end of programme survey that is designed to understand a little bit about what exactly you got out of the program, what you brought to the program, what have been some of the highlights, what are the areas we could potentially develop, but also whether or not you intend at this point to stay in touch with your mentor and what that relation with or your mentee and what that relationship might look like. And then in June 2027, you will get a post 6 month survey. And that's where we start to try and understand some of the potentially longer term impacts of the programme on your professional development and your personal development as well. So it's a full cycle, and the monitoring and evaluation continues after the programme, but it's really important for us to understand more about the relationships that are developed. I'm going to pause there, just so that hopefully Eva might have some points to add and we can break up the monotony of my voice. If there's anything that I've missed, Eva, or additional points you want to emphasize.
Um, Not in relation to the stages, but I do understand that all this information can sound daunting and can sound a lot to take in at the moment. But fear not, we will be in touch with you regularly. At the end of every stage, we will send out a mailing to you just as a reminder on reflect on your outcomes at the end of every stage and also what you need to prepare yourself for the upcoming stage. So we will be in constant contact with you. We have regular touch points scheduled in to be in touch with you and send out mailings with exactly all the information that we've just mentioned. And of course, we will talk more about the resources that are available for you, both mentees and mentors, in the next few slides.
Yeah, that's a really great point. Yes. So you don't have to take in everything right now. This is just to kind of give a bit of a recap on it. And as Eva said, we're always here. Anytime you have questions or queries, there is no such thing as a stupid question. Any query that you have, please do come to us. But equally, as Eva mentioned, and as we'll go on to talk about, you're your own community of peers. You're your own community of mentees and mentors that can support each other as well. And we do really encourage that through some of the resources and activities that we offer throughout the programme as well. So you are never ever alone on this programme. Please always stay in touch with us. So just to run through, on the website, on our resources page, you'll be able to access the handbooks, which hopefully you've already read, the mentoring log table, which I talked about, and then also that SMART goals log. So please do use those resources, particularly that log table and the SMART goals. It means that you both have a record of what's happening within your pairing and you can refer back to it. And also, stage 5, when you come to reflect on how far you've come, those sorts of things are really motivational, but also just really important as you're going through the programme. Within the handbook, some of the things that you'll find in there, and hopefully you've already had a chance to look at, are top tips. These have actually, they're not our top tips actually, these have come from previous mentors and previous mentees. So it's again from that peer community that you're now part of. Top tips around approaching the programme, what to think about, all of these things. Icebreakers, again, it's often really awkward sometimes to think about what you want to ask someone or how you want to phrase something. So we do have some icebreakers in there just to really support you through that and this important stage of building rapport. We've got advice again and some guidance around effective communication. As mentioned, it's important to get to know how each of you like to be communicated with, how you interpret and receive information, because we all like to do it differently. This is just another piece of information around that, just to support your skills development in that area as well. Receiving constructive feedback can be quite difficult to hear the constructive side of the feedback. You sometimes feel very personal around your work, perfectly normal. But learning how you receive constructive feedback through this pairing will really support you professionally in future as well. Being able to say, it's a piece of work I did, but this feedback is constructive and it's not about me, it's about the work. These are things that you learn as you go. So again, there's some advice in there. For our mentors, there's a piece around encouraging your mentee to be self-reflective. This is supporting the development of an independent learner, somebody that both can come to you, but when they come to you, it's not with a question, it's with a question and their thought on the answer. So really kind of developing that skill. and encouraging that skill as well. And as a mentor, it's about helping you not give the answer. It's about helping you ask more questions to the question. So that's a really interesting piece, and I would encourage everyone to make sure that they are really familiar with that, because getting that sort of really ingrained in your relationship early on, particularly around your SMART goals, actually, that's a really good thing to sort of have around those conversations. And then finally, there's some tips, again, from previous mentees and mentors around how to make the most of those final weeks. Final weeks on the programme, not final weeks of you having a positive, lifelong relationship, I hope. And then just for time, I'll just whiz through these, but just these are examples of the SMART Goals log and the mentoring log template. Again, you can download those from the website, so please do that before you have your first interactions. And just to reiterate, please keep in touch with us. We're always here. Questions, queries, comments, testimonials that you might want to submit around the sort of pairing that you're having, and perhaps some of the positive goals and wins that you're getting, please do get in touch with us. And you can have a look at some testimonials from previous pairs as well. So if you're a little bit unsure about exactly what you might be thinking of for your goals, have a look at those testimonials, because it gives you an idea of what others have looked for from the programme and what they've gotten out of it as well. And we also have some frequently asked questions available. So again, have a look at those. But if you're still unsure, you can always email us as well with queries. CSC policies, which I hope everyone is already familiar with, as both scholars and alumni. There are CSC codes of conduct for both scholars and alumni. This is an inclusive and respectful community, and we expect that within all of our pairs as well. Everyone must maintain confidentiality. What is discussed through this programme is very sometimes sensitive and personal, and it's important that it's treated with respect and confidentiality. The only exception is duty to report, and that is where you have a serious welfare concern regarding your mentee or mentor, in which case you have a duty to report it to the CSC, to the alumni team as a concern. And that is the only time that we ask that you break that confidentiality if you are seriously concerned about the welfare and the safety of your mentee or mentor, or potentially others from mentee or mentor as well. But that policy is fully outlined in your handbook. CSC safeguarding policy, please do ensure that you are familiar with that. Again, we build a respectful and safe community for all, so please do ensure that you are familiar with the safeguarding policy should you feel that you need to use it or access it. There's wellbeing and support provided for scholars as well. So if you are a mentor, please ensure that you are familiar with some of the on award support that is provided in the UK. And for our mentors as well, please do come to us if you have any wellbeing concerns or require some support throughout the mentoring programme. We know that everyone has other commitments, other things happening in their lives, and sometimes you need a break. Or sometimes you need some support and advice, please do come to us. And then finally, there is information around termination of pairings. Again, just want to reiterate, termination of pairings is not personal. Sometimes things happen and people can't complete with the programme. Often it's just that people are running out of time to respond to emails, and it's just best that we terminate pairs. But it's not personal. That is our experience of it, and I'm sure there are people on the call or who have been part of the programme that will testify to that. It's sometimes just a victim of circumstance that pairings don't go through. And then, yeah, that just reiterates some of the points that I have made. Please keep in touch. If I haven't said it enough, please keep in touch. Always email us. All right, I'm going to close there.